Welcome, Libra Rising, Sun or Moon. Please listen to your rising sign first, as this will give you the most accurate placement for the forecast. Well, let's begin with Pluto in Capricorn. That's been there since 2008 and will be here until 2023. And this has been in your fourth house of home. Now, usually with Pluto in an area of your chart, it will completely deconstruct and then rebuild that area again. That's usually what Pluto will do. So this is a transformation in this area for you. And it's been a long one since 2008. So if you can think back and think about the years since 2008 in these aspects of your life, you should be able to identify with some of the topics I'm going to be speaking about here. For example, this can be have been a period for you where you've gone through a lot of triggers of childish behavior from the past that comes up from maybe traumatic experiences or coping techniques you had as a child, or resentment, unforgiveness that you've held towards parents or family members, and so forth, and maybe how you were treated as a child. So you might have had some behaviors in your life that's gotten you into trouble, or that's just been, these things have been coming up in order for you to make changes on the inside, to heal these wounds and move past them and move into forgiveness and so forth. But it can be a hard and a difficult transit because you're dealing with deep emotional things from the past. So things trigger pain from the past, which is uncomfortable. But ultimately, this can be an extremely healing and transformative journey for you. And as as Pluto will be reaching critical degrees in 2022 and be moving closer to the end in order to move into Aquarius in 2023, this will get to a intensity point for you where things will permanently change for you in the home area of your chart. So this can be your home life, changing the way you live. If you've always lived alone, maybe now there's someone with you. If maybe your actual physical home has been in repair and you've been building or redoing or constantly changing things up, and now you're finally, finishing it up. This can deal with divorce, death, separation, in areas of home as well. This can also change the relationship with your parents. This can be a breakaway from home, power struggles with parents or in your homeland or where you're from. But there's permanent change here. And you're ready now for these changes to take place, and you're ready for the healing in this area of your chart because it's been through the long haul. But you've also probably dealt with a lot of control issues, maybe very obsessive controlling issues in this area. Maybe this has been with yourself and how you live or where you live or with who you live or how they live in the house. So there's all of these things are coming up for permanent change as we enter 2023. So 2022 is a pivotal changeover in this area of home, family, roots, and your past and emotional innermost feelings. And then Neptune has been in Pisces, your sixth house, since 2012 and will be here until 2025. And this brings a lot more spiritual attunement for you in your everyday life. But it can also sort of separate you from reality in a way. Like you're you're sort of in a dream world in your day-to-day. This is also an indicator that there can sometimes be hidden illnesses or illnesses that are being misdiagnosed, or you could be dealing with an illness. Or this can sometimes indicate just lethargy, or feeling lazy, or not having a lot of energy for your daily tasks, or slacking off in some cases at work or in your responsibilities. Sometimes this can indicate drugs, alcohol, poisons, toxins of some kind, allergies, especially if other transits support this. So this is a time where you want to really watch your escapism and try and remain and keep healty boundaries here with your how you take care of your body and body, mind, and soul, and as well as detoxing regularly, especially your lymph as well, and also just being more aware of not becoming dependent on even over-the-counter drugs and so forth. But you may experience more allergic type of reactions with this transit. This is also a transit where you can get strange ideas for some, not necessarily for others, about nutrition or hygiene or abstaining from certain things. Like maybe you're suddenly not eating meat anymore, or you are making some changes in your healthcare routines or your everyday work routines or your work environment, or that are ideas that other people might think are a little bit strange. It's important to also not follow things blindly in your everyday life with this transit, and to make sure you are doing your own research, and that you're also not being taken for rides as well. In some cases, this can mean that you're working more in regards to music or ethereal themes, or your work is connected in some spiritual realm of some kind. Maybe you are hopefully not dealing drugs, and maybe you are not doing anything underhanded or secretive, but that maybe you are writing poetry or spending more time, taking pictures, doing film, movies, or things like that, or just there's some kind of musical alignment here. This is a great transit for doing social work or working in a hospital or helping others, being of service, also in a spiritual sense with prayer and so forth. Maybe even preaching or dealing and helping with the poor. But you want to make sure that your services are with good intentions. This can sometimes bring in misunderstandings at work with people that you work with, or just in your everyday responsibilities. It can feel like someone could maybe be blocking you in some way. But be careful of getting involved with dishonest work with Neptune here. And this is a long transit, so these are topics that you may have come across since 2012. Now, Uranus is in Taurus in your 8th house and has been since 2018 and will be here until 2026. And Uranus in Taurus brings practical innovations. It brings in a utilitarian tendency. And it can also bring in volatility and fluctuations financially for you, especially in the 8th house as well. And your values are being tested, and your sense of what you value now are changing. So there can be a lot of powerful subconscious forces, activity in your life, changing your life from the inside out. There can be sudden fate-filled events that catapult you into totally different directions in your life, sort of like an eclipse almost. There can be things that happen, or powerful people, or people that come into your life that have a powerful, deep effect on you, that changes you forever in a way. There can be sudden endings to the way things used to be in regards to other people's money, dealing with debt, taxes, dealing with financial assistance of some kind, or shared resources and possessions. There can be changes in your spouse's income or a partner's income, business partnerships. There can be divorces with displacement or separations, breakups. There can also be breakthroughs, and also a tendency to want to have unusual sexual experiences as well. There can sometimes be connections to death. Maybe someone dies, and this has a profound effect on you. There can be restrictions imposed by others that you feel are intolerable and you want to break free from with Uranus here. So this can either be from a relationship, or even whoever you could be dependent on financially in some way, or you feel some kind of oppression in how you earn money or being able to earn money. But this is a revolutionary time for you on a very deep, intimate level. You can also be triggered in regards to subconscious survival patterns from the past in order for you to bring it to the surface and heal it. You can get sudden secrets being revealed, either of yourself or others. So there can also be scandals with Uranus here. There can be a change in partners or their income or inheritances in regards to partners or yourself. This is a time where you want to become independent financially, or this is where you should be heading, and you don't want to owe anyone anything. So this is a time where you want to actively start making changes so that you do not have to be dependent on anyone. So other people do not have control over you because of money. So this can also be a time where you may be ready to end certain contracts and agreements in connected to shared resources or business contracts and so forth. This can be a time where you're actively deciding on how you're going to get rid of debt, and maybe finding some side jobs or figuring out a way to become financially independent, or investing in unusual sources. Maybe you are getting into crypto or something like that. This can bring in new unusual sexual experiences, like I've said. But there is a death and a rebirth in this area for you on an intimate level, and also in regards to finances, especially in regards to others and sharing. And then Saturn is in Aquarius in your 5th house, and has been since December 2020, and will be here until 2023. And Saturn here can heighten personal detachment in Aquarius, but it is more objective. It does bring a more unconventional point of view in this area of your life. And you can also find that you are actively separating or joining certain groups or alliances, also in regards to political views and religious views and just beliefs in general, who you hang out with, your friends, what you do in your spare time, is taking on a much more serious level for you. You can be seriously relearning or learning how to express yourself in the best way. And it can be that that almost everything you do now, in your spare time, in your free time, the movies you watch, the things you do, are all serious. It's all things that you want to be able to learn from or gain wisdom from in some way. you don't want to waste your time with frivolous things or or anything like that. And it can also indicate that you tend to spend less time having fun. You're laughing less. You are, things are a bit more serious for you at this time. But it is a time where you're learning who you want to interact with and who you want to spend your time on and with. You can feel a bit more burdened with Saturn here, like you're experiencing less joy. Children can become a bit more of a heavier responsibility with Saturn here, or there can be separation from children in some way, or they have a lot of serious issues going on, or maybe even a long-term illness that shows up for a child. This can sometimes bring in love affairs with someone older, or it can sort of take a love affair or a romantic connection to a higher level or a more serious position, maybe getting engaged. Or it can even be someone younger than you, but there is definitely an age difference here. But whatever emotional encounters you have with another will bring in a lot of growth for you during this time. You will be learning and maturing through it. Sometimes this can mean your children maybe go to a faraway place, or your connections are sort of separated. People, friends that you spend time with can be long distance. Maybe you're Zoom calling this one. You can be also working really hard on creative tasks or something that you are doing yourself that you want to maybe turn into a business, like some kind of self-employment endeavor that you're working on, that you've been working on, that you're spending a lot of time on in order for you to be able to bring this out, maybe as part of becoming more financially independent here. But this can indicate that you're cutting back a little bit more on frivolous spending and just blowing money for no reason. And then Jupiter will be in Pisces in your 6th house for about 4 months. It will be moving into ingress Aries in your 7th house on the 10th of May. But Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July and make its way back into Pisces on October 28th, where it will station direct in November and re-enter Aries on the 20th of December 2022. So it's approximately 6 months in each sign then, basically, altogether. Now with Jupiter in your 6th house of Pisces, your work and responsibilities satisfy a certain amount of your ego needs here, and you may find it much more enjoyable and fulfilling with Jupiter here. Benefits such as a promotion, or better pay, or even just a better actual environment or people around you can improve. Your life has more purpose with this transit and structure, which you definitely need with Neptune being there this, since 2012. In some cases, it can signify dealing with foreign matters or travel issues, or maybe foreign co-workers or tenants or people that speak another language, or people that are far away or that are different from you. Jupiter here can signify or significantly improve your health and vitality. In some cases, you can have weight gain with Jupiter here. Be especially careful with sweets and alcohol, as your liver and pancreas can also take a dive with Jupiter here. So be more aware of what your intake is. But Jupiter here can bring healing to illnesses that you have been dealing with and bring like some relief. It can bring growth and promotions. It can also If you are dealing with some certain health conditions, it can also bring growth in size of those health conditions, sometimes with Jupiter in this area. So just be aware of that as well. I don't like talking about things like that, but I do like to prepare people for whatever transits can signify. It's unique for every person, and it also needs support from other aspects and transits to make some of these things occur, but this could be an indicator of that happening for some. Therefore, avoid overindulgence and choose foods that are good for you and keep your body alkaline as much as possible. And then Jupiter will be in Aries, your 7th house. And while Jupiter is here, your connections with a significant other or business partnerships, and most people can heal, improve, and benefit quite a bit from this. Sometimes it can also bring distance from a partner or a business partner or loved ones in some way, in order for you to work on healing relationships. Your interactions with others is a learning experience and can teach you about yourself and the world around you. You and others are more inclined to helping each other with Jupiter here. And if you have trouble of any kind, don't go at it alone at this time. Get assistance if needed. Get a counselor, get a lawyer. Lawsuits are more favorable with outcomes under this transit, but it is important to not overlook little details that could trip you up at this time. You don't want to go for more than what's fair. Everything in moderation will get you there. New interactions or connections of importance could possibly be with foreign people or a person quite different from you, or maybe in a faraway place or that speaks a different language. Regardless, they will change your perspectives and your way of looking at the world in some way. And then Mars will be in Sagittarius as we start the year to ingress Capricorn on the 24th of January. And Mars in Capricorn will be in your 4th house of home. Now, Mars here is exalted. It increases worldly ambitions to achieve. It's well organized. It creates a regulated action, and it gives practical results. It can bring a prudish sex drive for some. Now, property topics through marriage can come up with this transit. Gains or losses through marriage. A chaste partner in some cases. Benefits or losses through your estate, property, parents. Sometimes this can indicate inheritances, household goods, land, mining, or investment property can all be topics with Mars here. It can also be that you are building on a house or working on a house, renovating, working in the house, or working from home as well. Now, Mars here can stir up the unconscious childhood behavior patterns from the past. So you can sometimes act childishly or inappropriately with Mars here. So you want to really watch your behavior and how and why you're being triggered in order for you to be able to heal this and get rid of what these behaviors that you don't need any longer. They're not necessary for your survival anymore. You could be fighting something that you feel you don't even understand with this transit. Others might have a harder time dealing with you, especially in your home. You could be wanting things a certain way or being selfish in some way, even without knowing it. But Mars here can bring domestic strife and some conflict in the home, accidents, violence, and so forth. So this can be a time where maybe you want to live by yourself and you decide to move out, or it's better to maybe just separate yourself a little bit and live and spend more time on your own until this is past. But this can also sometimes bring up disputes over land or land use. It can bring difficulty with parents or accidents in the home or accidents with parents, even fire issues. It's best to keep a low profile at work with this transit because you can maybe experience a lot of opposition or blockage from work or at work. And this is a very important house for you going into 2022 because this is where Mars, Pluto, and Venus also conjoin on the 3rd of March. Venus has its retrograde here. So this is a house that will be going through a lot of reevaluation and changes in the next year for you. Mars will conjunct Pluto on the 3rd of March at 27 degrees near its exaltation point of 28 degrees in Capricorn. And this can sometimes be a time where we are more tempted to want to take control of whatever is happening in our lives or in that area of our lives. And it can sometimes stimulate ambition, but it can also bring disruption and violence. It can bring a ruthless energy, and you can be on the giving or receiving end of this. So beware of power games also in regards to the government, other people at work, work politics. Avoid dangerous places, people, situations of all kinds during this time. This is angular for you, so you could be feeling this in some way, or even from a parent or towards a parent. This is a great transit though for heavy amounts of work. You can gain power or some kind of higher position or raise in this area of your life. Make sure you are not abusing your power or acting selfishly. This transit, like I said, can also involve co-workers, women in government. It can sometimes indicate death in the family and business regarding death or things connected to some kind of ending. And Pluto will be reaching critical degrees in 2022, like I've mentioned. So this is a house of huge changes for everyone, wherever Capricorn falls for anyone at this point, is a time where the transformation period since 2008 until now goes through a huge transformation, a permanent shift, a permanent change. And then with Venus retrograde here and Mars activating this area, you're in for huge changes. We're in for huge changes governmentally in the world, possibly moving towards a world government as Pluto enters into Aquarius, moving forward. So we have a lot to look forward to seeing happening in the world around us. And then we have Mars entering Aquarius on the 6th of March in your 5th house. And this will also trigger the Saturn-Uranus square we've had all of 2021 and will have in 2022. It's the past versus the future, the old versus the new, restriction versus freedom. And you might have experienced some tension and some of this frustration in between your 8th and 5th houses of spouse's income or other people's money or financial assistance or inheritances, and maybe child responsibilities or how you have fun in your free time. Agreements and creative projects, self-employment and funding, investments, shared resources, and gambling, owing money and responsibilities towards a child, injuries, surgery in regards to maybe sport injuries, debt and creative projects, debt and having and freedom, limitation versus freedom. And with Mars here in Aquarius, there's more of a innovative flair. And this can also, actually, before I go on, this could also have been felt in romantic situations, and being truthful, truth in romance and love and intimacy situations, really opening up and being vulnerable. But yes, and there can also have been sort of like secret private love in some way with these placements. And then let me continue. With Mars in Aquarius, there's flair and innovation. There is a need for doing things in an original and unique way. And this can also, Mars here wants freedom of action. It can be more sexually cool and unemotional with Mars in Aquarius here. There can be gains and losses by speculation or investments. There is a want for pleasure and entertainment, spending time with children, marrying someone younger, or meeting someone younger as a romantic partner, or even someone more middle-aged in some cases, someone very active, someone that's quite assertive. There can be trouble with children, conflict with children, accidents in connection with children, being very busy with children or very, very busy children, angry children. There can be a need to be more expressive and demand a demand to be yourself and to be free. So this can also indicate a break in a romantic relationship, especially if it's been on the edge for a while. Or it can be the initiation of one, or the initiation of just more freedom of expression in that area. In some cases, this can also indicate getting pregnant or the physical act of sex with Mars here. But this is a wonderful transit for sports, creative arts, working on a self-employment project, something you're building up from small to big. But your desire for love is stronger here. You can lack self-discipline with this transit because you want to be more focused on your free time and playing and having fun, spending time with a romantic partner than actually working. So your focus is more on joy. But this is a wonderful time for you to be really present in the moment and to really spend quality time with your children and being able to really just let go more, especially if you have been working very hard. This can be really good for you and healing for you in order for you to spend more time laughing. And you also want to be careful here with with accidents in regards to breaking bones or teeth or anything like that Capricorn could be ruling. Now Mars will also conjunct Saturn on the 4th and 5th of April at 22 degrees Aquarius in your 5th house. And this can be a difficult transit for some. It can bring some frustration and irritation. This is not a good time to do anything risky. Don't break a leg here. You may experience less energy with this transit. You may feel that you find yourself a little bit more angered and not able to express it. So this is a good time to work out and get rid of that intense stress and anxiety. It's great for working on something that requires heavy concentration or very careful, detailed technique. But be cautious with machinery, heavy equipment, cutting tools, weapons, steel and iron. But this can be a great point for you to finally break away from something that's been oppressing you or limiting you or suffocating you in some way, or someone in some area of your life, because Mars will also be squaring Uranus. And this is really a trigger where we can be more rebellious and suddenly have that breakout energy impulsively. But you want to be careful, because this can get you in trouble with authorities. But you will be asking yourself also more, maybe with your children, or with in regards to a romantic partner, or some creative project that maybe you've even started with a friend, or some sideline business, you know, or some, can I be myself in this? So this is questions that will be coming up for you. Is this authentic and true for me? But be aware that you can be more easily angered. But this is a place where you really want to ask yourself, where do I need to start making changes? And how can I make changes and change this up, make it more exciting, or give myself more freedom here? Does it mean I have to completely let this thing go? Or does it mean I can adjust some things and tweak it a bit, move things around, and it feels more free for me then? It's more interesting. I'm more into it. Maybe this means changing things up also in the bedroom to make things a bit more alive again. But if you don't follow the signals for you to make changes in this area of your life that you're feeling so limited or frustrated in, then the universe can move you if you're not going to do it yourself. And then it can be more painful or uncomfortable, or you have more trauma maybe to deal with. So also be very careful with being more accident prone with Mars squaring Uranus at this time. And remember that you need to now think outside of the box. You need to think in unique and different ways. And new challenges requires new solutions. And Mars will enter Pisces on the 15th of April in your 6th house. And this will be just after the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction on the 12th of April in your 6th house. Now with Mars here, you can feel a lack of motivation and confidence in Pisces. So it can be harder for you to function at an optimal level, so to speak, in your everyday responsibilities, your work, maybe your health routine. So Mars here also prefers to work under clear direction and in a more quieter atmosphere in order for it to be productive. So you might find that you need to slow things down, simplify your environment for you to be able to focus and concentrate more. And also make sure that your communication is clear both ways. And this is also a time where you may find you're a bit more affectionate and romantic in connecting with love. Sometimes this transit can indicate marrying below your station. It can sometimes indicate a wife or partner that becomes ill. Sometimes there can be trouble with employees or people that work under you, or there can be sometimes issues with pets. There can also be injuries in regards to pets. But basically with Mars here, you're working hard to get things done. You are delaying pleasure willingly in order to do what needs to get done. If you don't have anything to do at this time, you need to find things to keep you busy. Volunteer. This is a wonderful transit for being of service to others, but it can also be a transit that makes it harder for you to work in a group environment because you can be a bit more selfish unknowingly. You can not want to take orders from others at this time, so you can get, there's a higher chance of you getting in conflict with a boss or a coworker or something like that. So with a Mars transit here, it's better to work by yourself on a project if you possibly can, or just, you know, lay it low for a bit. Sometimes this can indicate that you want to break free and say, I'm out, I'm working for myself now, I can't do this. Sometimes this can mean that there's a tendency towards accidents. There can also be situations bringing in fever or inflammation, infections, muscle injuries. This is important to take care of your health with Mars here, to be not impulsive, and to also take care of your lymph and your iron levels. And this can be a wonderful energy boost for a new health routine, revamping your schedule, checking what your intake is, being more disciplined and action oriented towards your what you eat, what you do, how you take care of yourself, and so forth. But it is a more active time in regards to work and responsibilities. But this can be great for talking things out as well. If you are feeling very stressed out, you need a physical outlet, otherwise you'll get ill if you are working too much. So try not to multitask too much. Keep it simple. And then Mars will also conjunct Neptune on the 17th of May on 24 degrees of Pisces. And with Mars conjunct Neptune, we can experience strange feelings. We can experience irritability, discouragement, feeling like we're unable to accomplish what we've set out to do. We can feel inferior or useless. So it's important to remember that this too shall pass. You can maybe feel depressed in your everyday schedules and work and environment. Also watch for action based on delusions and being taken for a ride. So watch out for that. Avoid unhealthy escapism methods such as abuse of alcohol or drugs. There's a higher chance of overdosing on things like this as well. This is not a good time to start anything new. It is a great time for serving others, or volunteering your time in a hospital, but your intentions must be good. Sometimes this can indicate being hospitalized. So again, you are working really hard right now. You have a lot going on, and you want to make sure that you have balance in this area of your life between rest and work. Otherwise, it will manifest physically. So rest and do not push your body too hard. Because you will, with Mars here, you'll want to work out. You'll want to get busy and get down and doing it. But the problem is that your energy itself will probably say no. Your body will tell you, no, man, like I can't go this far. So listen to your body at this time. Ground yourself. This is a great energy for doing things like martial arts, or that connects body, mind, and soul. That's a slower moving, more meditative movement, but still exercise for every body that you have. All of your bodies, and it basically will also help you to just slow down and channel your energy in a much healthier way. So it's also very normal for you at this time to have a lower sex drive with Mars being here. but you might feel more romantically inclined, more into the romance part of connecting with someone, music and poetry and those types of activities. So if you are feeling a bit more depressed maybe in your everyday life, or maybe your work environment's gotten really stale, and you're trying to vamp it up again, maybe play some music in the background or some nature sounds or something like that that can really help you get through this period of busyness. And then on the 24th of May, Mars will ingress Aries in your 7th house. And Mars enjoys being in Aries. It's dignified here. It likes direct and immediate action. So you will be experiencing that sense of immediate action, directness with a spouse or a romantic partner or a business partner, or even in regards to the public or opponents of some kind. You can find that you're more aggressive, impulsive, and assertive, going after what you want. You have courage, you're brave, you have more energy at this time, woohoo, after this low slump, and you're more competitive and you're fearless. Now, with Mars here, you can have more haste, which can be making you more prone to accidents and conflicts and injuries. So be aware of that. You can have a stronger sex drive. There can also be a tendency to fail finishing things that you've started because you didn't really think it through. So this can also mean, like, if it's a brand new relationship, it could be a one-night stand in a sense. Like, it could be something that doesn't really follow through. In some cases, Mars here, in your case, can indicate marrying someone with money, or it can indicate that a partner cheats or grows cold in some way. There can be gains and losses financially with this placement. There can also be gain through women in some way. But there can be more conflict with the public and enemies. And there can also be topics such as theft coming up at this time. In general, Mars here can create tension and arguments or strife between close relationships with a partner or a business partner or a spouse, unless that energy is creatively channeled. So it might be more difficult for you to compromise during this time, but this is a great time to evaluate the relationships that's experiencing some conflict, go for counseling, actually work on the relationship, or even getting a project that you can work on together to improve your working togetherness, your cooperation. And or sometimes this just indicates that you are actually working on something together at that time, or initiating something together in some way. This is a great time to weigh responsibilities in the relationships, in your one-on-one relationships, the give and take, the compromise, and modify this where needed. Avoid needless arguments if possible. And there can be legal affairs indicated with Mars here. It's important that you compromise and be fair in order for you to be successful. But this can also in some cases be the cutting of relationships in some way, because Mars can be sort of like a final knife slice. And then Mars will also conjunct Jupiter on the 29th of May at 3 degrees of Aries. And this is great for physical energy, physical activity, so you're starting to feel better. It boosts your confidence. But it is important to remember to not be overly confident in a foolish way, because this can lead to accidents or humiliation. Be cautious in speculating, but this can also be a lucky transit as well. So there can be blessings here for you. And this can be a great time in general for working out, building muscles if you're a muscle builder, bodybuilder. It can also help with childbirth, making it easier and giving you that vavoom. But ultimately, you can be learning a lot through the activities and the action taking place in your one-on-one relationships. You will be learning from whatever is happening here and being blessed through whatever it is that you are learning. Mars will also square Pluto retrograde in Capricorn on the 1st of July at 27 degrees of Aries. And with Mars squaring Pluto, we can experience more power struggles. You'll feel that you really want to make headway in a certain area. You might feel more high energy, but there can be opposition from others with this transit, and you may have to take a different course of action than you originally planned. But this is a time where loose ends can trip you up, so you want to be cautious. Resist cruelty, ruthless energy, being underhanded, avoid shortcuts. All of these types of actions, deceptive actions, can lead to defeat. Whether this is, a receiving or giving energy, be aware that anything of this kind will be showing again or coming up by January 2023 when Mars enters Cancer. So you want to do things right. This can sometimes also indicate a fight, not giving up, or giving up between you and an opposition, or you and a group, and so forth. So this is very important to avoid danger and dangerous people and places and situations. Anything where you could possibly end up as a victim in some way. And then we have Mars ingressing Taurus in your 8th house on the 5th of July. And Mars in Taurus is in detriment, which basically means that Mars is slower to initiative in Taurus, but it does boost practical direction, determination. So you may start something slowly here, but it has purposeful action and it's moving forward, determined. This is great for focusing on gains. Mars in Taurus wants to start something new and build on it. It likes to work with money. It likes to work with earth materials, gardening, farming, self-sustaining, owning its own security, building a foundation. It's more of a basic sensual, sexual drive. This can sometimes indicate money or property by marriage. Sometimes this transit can bring in, if supported by other transits, the death of a partner, inheritance, even difficulties with inheritances or other people's money, losses through partnerships or bank failures. So it's an important time to stay flexible and not have all your eggs in one basket in regards to shared finances, business partnerships, marriage partnerships, investments, and all of the above. But usually with Mars here, you will experience a transformation of some kind through either an event or a person that has a powerful effect on you or power over you. But there can be conflicts over shared values, financials, possessions, property, debts, or intimacy. This is a good time to work on these issues and modify investments if you see that's necessary. There can be arguments about money foolishly spent, especially shared money. And it's also important to be careful here with spending. This is not a great time to obtain loans. There can be a deeper need for deeply transforming sexual intimacy and expression during this time. But this can also be a time where you go through some kind of death and rebirth experience. This can be a habit, this can be a person, this can be a part of your deeper inner soul that you are changing permanently. But this is a transformation. You're letting something go and having something reborn here, transformed in some way and healed in some way. This can also be an active way of you taking charge in paying off debt or changing your ways in regards to that. But this transit can involve power struggles and lessons. And then Mars will conjunct Uranus in your 8th house and also the North Node on the 1st of August at 18 degrees of Taurus. And this can indicate a form of crisis point with this degree point. And there can be sudden upsets, disruptions, surprises, financial losses or gains. There's financial volatility. You could have a change of plans or an energy freak out. There can be a breaking free from limitation energy here. A rebellion. Accidents can be self-inflicted due to anger or impulsiveness or just radical action. Avoid driving fast or working with dangerous machinery or tools or weapons, especially if you're angry. This is a great energy to create a new project, to innovate something, to think outside of the box, do something in a different way, work out and channel this intense energy. But this is a time where you will want to assert your individuality. And then let's have a look at the retrogrades for 2022. Mercury will retrograde from air to earth, and Mercury will be moving from Aquarius to Capricorn, Gemini to Taurus, and Libra to Virgo. Now, all the general common topics of Mercury retrograde would apply for all of these retrogrades, such as mental activity, anxiety, misunderstandings, transportation and communication issues of all kinds, mistakes, loss of passwords, loss and damage to electronics, email errors, retesting, redoing, relearning, reevaluating, changing our minds, reversals, people, the past, people from the past, hello there, bank errors, card errors, electricity, internet issues, car malfunctions, mechanical faulties, wrong numbers, rerouted traffic, accidents, all of the above. Bursting pipes, the fridge suddenly just does not work. So do not buy any new electronics, appliances, and so forth. Don't sign any contracts that you cannot get out of. Don't start new things if you can avoid it. Wait. Rather use this time to prepare, revamp, adjust, review, go over the details, the schedules, the routines, fine tune it. Now, Mercury will retrograde from 10 degrees Aquarius to the 24th degree of Capricorn from January 14th to the 4th of February for 21 days. And this can bring in topics concerning friends, alliances, groups you belong to, political alliances, co-workers, people and organizations, governments, that show their true colors during this time. This can also be affected by your future hopes and goals, markets and supply lines, your social life, freedom and individuality, our rights and freedoms, the collective, radio frequencies, internet issues, electronics, AI, politics, career issues, property, commitments, hard work, sadness, serious responsibilities, topics concerning teeth, bones, and minerals can all come up during this Mercury retrograde from Aquarius to Capricorn. And for you, Libra rising, this will happen in your 4th and 5th houses. So home and family and creativity and children and self-expression. So I'm going to list here a bunch of topics that could be affected by this Mercury retrograde. Publishing, your father or an authority figure, other people's opinions, dissemination of information, beliefs, faith, foreign affairs, education, teaching, learning, world, information and view, great grandchildren, dreams, your sleep patterns, your intuition, fun, creative projects, children, romance, self-expression, speculation, sport, home, family, your free time, parents, childhood, person from your childhood, and your security in general. So these are all things that could come up during this Mercury retrograde for review or an inward look. And then Mercury will retrograde from the 4th degree of Gemini to 26 degrees of Taurus from May 10th to the 3rd of June for 24 days. And here you're going to experience, again, you can expect the regular Mercury retrograde topics. And you can also expect people being brutally honest, people poking their noses where they shouldn't, gossiping, flights delayed, schedules, uprooted, plans change. So this is the best time to really rethink things, double check, proofread, use direct communication. There can be more chaotic situations financially in the world with banking, markets, also agriculture, our values, our skills, how we work and make money. So be also cautious in how you're spending and investing your money. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Stay flexible, be able to change things. Don't book tickets that are not refundable. And be ready to go with the changes that can happen unexpectedly. And this can be affecting you in your your 12th, 9th, and 8th houses. So this can deal with you in the areas of your spiritual life, self-sabotage habits, secret enemies, secret lovers, losses, your sleep patterns. This can deal with your faith and beliefs, other people's opinions, faraway places, foreign affairs, foreign languages, teaching, learning, higher education, a father figure, and also death and rebirth connections, other people's money, shared resources, investments, your spouse's income, business partnerships, intimacy,
your truth, secrets, scandals, death, inheritance, debt, and taxes. And then Mercury will retrograde from the 8th degree of Libra to 24 degrees of Virgo from September 10th to the 2nd of October for about 22 days. And this will bring up things that Libra and Virgo have rulership over. For example, we will have more imbalance in connection to grace, charm, diplomacy, collaborations, contracts and agreements, love and business relationships, justice, the law, fairness in general, peace and harmony in general. There will be off balance. This can also be a time where you may be rethinking your style, your looks, your financials, your investments, your values, your comfort, and also issues in regards to balance and manipulation and so forth. Issues with public health and COVID concerns could come up during this time for revision, employment, work, mental health, and so forth. And this can be affecting you as well, especially again in your 12th house, your 9th house, and also added to that, your first house of self, your sense of self, how you see the world, how you communicate, how you move around, your mobility, also the language you speak, also your body language. This can also deal with your health and things that Mercury would rule as well, such as the joints, the lungs. It deals with hands and fingers and the mind. So let's have a look at Venus retrograde. Venus will retrograde from 19 December 2021 until January 29th of 2022. And she will be conjunct Pluto, and we will start the year going in like this. And like I've mentioned, your Capricorn house is going through a lot this year. Now, when Venus retrogrades, issues of love, money, values, beauty, pleasure, sweet things, comfort, investments, and confidence comes in for review. Old relationships can return, or issues regarding it, even financial issues or self-worth issues. Unexpected expenses can pop up, having to return items, dealing with laziness in this area of your life, or being very comfort focused, or eating a lot of cake. We could also see a lot more information in the news in regards to expensive art and things like that. This is not a great time to start a new relationship or take it to a next level like marriage or engagement. You don't want to make new investments or big purchases or beauty procedures that you can regret, or contracts you can't get out of, and so forth. So rather postpone, plan, reevaluate, check and weigh balance in this area that's being affected. But in general, Venus in Capricorn denotes a slow love, less emotional, more of a business contract kind of love, business marriages, love for money, money for love, mercenary intentions can come up at this time, old money, an age difference in love, love separated, mature love, unavailable, restricted, forbidden love, love at work, love far away. It can give you great decorating ideas. You can maybe want to mature your style at work. This can also bring up jealousy, manipulation, obsession, power struggles, possessiveness, or a reality check in love and money. But this can, Venus in Capricorn can bring up topics in taking love to the next level. So just make sure if you are thinking about doing that, that you wait till Venus is out of retrograde and out of shadow. But this can also indicate supported love and mourning love gone. But there can be power moves in connection to property, eventually, banking, monies, values, and so forth. And for you, this is in your fourth house. So there can be a tendency to want to laze around at home in your PJs, not clean your house, being a little bit more messy. You could be maybe renovating or making things prettier, or fixing things, buying or selling possessions or home, or moving. Sometimes this can be a bit slower and more difficult than you'd hope for, or maybe there's issues with money in the home or connected to the home. You have decor issues or comfort issues, or maybe you want to spend money on something and it's not working out, or you had to return a curtain that didn't work out, it was the wrong color. There can also be issues with family, parents, people moving in or out, and so forth with this transit. And then Mars will retrograde from 25 degrees Gemini to 8 degrees Gemini for 63 days, from the 30th of October till the 12th of January 2023. And Mars will also be in mutual reception with Mercury in Scorpio. And so your Scorpio and Gemini houses could be working together in some way during this time as well. Now, when Mars is our willpower, it's our drive, it's our passion, it's our go planet. And when Mars is retrograde, we can have lower energy levels, we can have a lower sex drive, we can feel less assertive, we can experience more difficulties, and our energy levels can be affected. So it's best for us to complete and finish already started projects. It's good for us to be aware of our energy, channel it appropriately, exercise, especially if we're feeling frustrated or angry, and rather spend our time repairing things, redoing it, renovating it, building a website, getting admin out of the way, strategizing a plan, that type of thing, fine-tuning things. But we could be seeing a lot more debating going on, more accidents, arguments, cities being very busy or chaotic, or chaos in the cities, transportation issues, car bombs or car explosions could happen with Mars retrograde in Gemini. This can also bring us fighting verbally, or verbal fighting, mental and physical activity, a lot of movement. There can be a lot of action in the media in regards to information. Technology can be affected by this, machinery, and a lot of the same topics that we would get with a Mercury retrograde would be coming up with Mars retrograde in Gemini. We can also experience more blockages and not get as much done as we'd normally like to But Mars can help us in slowing down and reflecting on our desires, and help us to rethink and analyze what is upsetting us and why, and where is it coming from. This is also a great time to take notes on bright ideas that you might get. Be also careful of theft during this time, and also the possibilities of shoplifting can come up as well, maybe in the news, or be more prevalent during this time. You may be rethinking your driving, your neighborhood, your car, where you live, repairs on your car, relatives. You can have a sharp tongue and be very busy and impulsive, and be more injury or accident prone. So be aware, take more care of your arms and hands, your joints, your lungs. Some people can experience more inflammation, anxiety, pull a muscle, or experience asthma with these types of placements. Some can be studying, restudying, or redoing tests. There can be changes in relationships and communication in this time. Your mind can be more fragile but more sharp. You can get in trouble for what you say, even if it's a joke. So gossip, rumors, freedom of speech can come up during this time. There can be more fraudulent business schemes at this time. There can be erotic fantasies or dirty talk during this time. There can be a more curious energy. And there can be more fighting for opinions and beliefs that you feel strongly about. And this can affect you in your 9th house and your 2nd house, especially. And so you can be more defensive in regards to your faith and beliefs. There can be travel frustrations or restrictions that you're experiencing. There can be educational issues, so maybe you having to retrain or relearn or retest something. There can be a tendency to talk too big or be too optimistic, not doing what you say you're going to do. So just be aware of that, not being a know-it-all and not pushing your views onto others. This can also work in connection with your 2nd house of work, money, income, your self-worth, your values, your possessions, your connection with your identity and your self-worth in connection to what you do for a living or what you earn. This can also affect committed relationships and skills. And then Jupiter will retrograde from the 28th of July till the 23rd of November, from 8 degrees Aries to 28 degrees of Pisces for 118 days. And Jupiter in Aries can bring about new leadership in some cases, and bring things for review that we wanted to start or wanted to take further or expand in some way. We can be overconfident, over-optimistic, arrogant, or selfish, and more accident-prone with Jupiter here. So we can have tendencies to promise and not deliver, and make big mistakes, but also big leaps and big growth during this time. So we want to make sure that we are cautious and work in moderation. There can be liver issues triggered with this, so watch your alcohol intake and your fatty foods and sugary foods. But really you want to ask yourself, what spiritual lessons are you here to learn? Where can you be less about yourself and more about others? But we will also have opportunities here to create our own luck. But you want to watch your anger flare-ups, impulsiveness, working with machines, fire, but ultimately this is about what is happening right now that you are supposed to be learning from, or who are you learning from, or are you maybe that for someone else, and what is your truth? This is about your personal growth. And then Jupiter will also retrograde into Pisces, reviewing our visions, ideals, beliefs. We become more compassionate with this transit, usually with more of an emphasis on the meaning of life, our innermost authentic selves, our deeper values, morals, integrity, and beliefs. And we turn more spiritually inwards. And we notice how we connect with everyone and the universe itself. And we are more in tune with our similarities and humanness than our separateness and what makes us different. Now for you, this is in your 7th and 6th houses. And you can meet your true soulmate during a time like this in some cases. There can be instant connections if you meet someone new that's karmically linked to your past. It could even be someone that you don't like very much at first, and then you eventually like them. This is a time where you do not want to judge people too quickly. There's also more of a focus on your physical well-being, investigating health matters, alternative health avenues, and you also want to be watching your liver health and overindulgence during this time. And then Saturn will retrograde on the 4th of June till the 23rd of October, from 25 degrees Aquarius to 18 degrees Aquarius for 141 days. And we review committed and serious relationships, our reality, our life goals, our direction, our responsibilities, our duties. These are all in for rebalancing, reviewing, restructuring, how we manifest our reality. And Saturn reminds us of the aspects of life we cannot avoid. Rules, responsibilities, length of life, your skin color, taxes, restrictions, commitments, and time itself, bodily limitations. And the areas it affects usually requires restructuring, can experience delays, blockages, frustrations, injuries, illnesses, sometimes endings or separations, or just a harder time, a more serious time, and a maturing. Sometimes with this transit, there could be an old friend coming back into your life, or you could maybe be thinking of joining or exiting a specific group that you belong to. There can be a child from the past return, maybe someone you've given up for adoption that shows up. There can be, it can be that you've had a certain responsibility for too long, and or you've been been like a kind of a doormat in some way, and you are now being encouraged to look at things differently and set boundaries in these areas, and making sure that you don't do everything for everyone anymore. Otherwise, this can lead to illness. It's also a time to rethink your creativity, how you spend your free time. Do you spend enough free time? How you spend your money on entertainment, how you spend money on children, your responsibilities in connection with children, your form of disciplining children. It can also have you rethinking investments, speculation, sport, and basically just what you spend your free time on, creative projects, even a self-employment project, a project that you're building up from scratch maybe in some way. And there can be issues also regarding children. And like I said, responsibilities here that are up for review, or serious topics, even in regards to health with children, that are in for review. Now, the nodal axis, which guides our moon's ecliptic path and determine the eclipse placements, moves into a fixed sign polarity on the 19th of January 2022, with the north node in Taurus and the south node in Scorpio. North node being ruled by Venus and the south node being ruled by Mars. The south node in Scorpio being ruled by Mars. All right, so we're moving into a much more extreme, stubborn, and determined all or nothing energy here. Much different from what we've had. Now, this will also, again, be stimulating that Saturn-Uranus square that we've been dealing with again. And of course, this is also going to be the financial axis. This is the power and control axis. So for the next 18 months, we will be dealing with the mine and yours, obsession, power, jealousy, control, manipulation, bullying, stubbornness, agriculture, land, equalities, fairness, wounding, secrets, sex scandals, abuse of power, secrets coming out, new currencies, new financial systems, financial crises, online, electronic, financial systems, energy medicine, food, our production of food, communities, sharing our resources, sharing, healing, getting rid of toxicity and poison. This is about boundaries and freedom, necessities and unnecessities, the unnecessary. Where can I simplify? Where can I be more manageable? Where can I let go, recycle, reuse, minimize, detox? What do you really need? Getting rid of clutter and releasing unnecessary structures that do not work for you anymore, and changing it up, doing it differently. Letting go of fear, uncovering the truth, living fully now and giving it your all. Now, with eclipses in this axis, of course, eclipses have a longer effect. It's usually 6 months, but there's also many other cycles and things that needs to be looked at. But let's just say it's approximately 6 months. But the veil is thin during this time, and we experience fated events, fated turnarounds, sudden change of direction, truth being revealed, transformations, sudden endings, sudden beginnings, and so forth. So we will also, you can also think back at times when, at about 2004 is when we were having these eclipses here in these areas. And before I talk further about the eclipses, like I mentioned, we will have Uranus conjuncting the North Node in your 8th house. And this is a time where, with the South Node then being in the 2nd, where you can become more vulnerable, more willing to sort of open yourself to allowing other people to see the real you. This can abruptly affect a partner's income or shared resources. There can be sudden life-changing events that's very traumatic. There can be death, inheritances, accidents, connections with a business partner, profound emotional healing. There can be extreme losses or gains financially, losses or gains of trust. And with the South Node in the second, there can be a letting go of materialism or possessions, or and wanting to maybe follow a more spiritual focus, really reevaluating your values and what is more important for you, the material versus the spiritual, and so forth. So our solar eclipse in Taurus in your 8th house will be on the 30th of April. And this is a new beginning, or a new leaf being turned, or a seed of intention, or a birthing of some sort in the area of your 8th house. So this can be maybe a new business partner, a new business agreement. It can be a new investment. This can be a new lease on intimacy, a new intimate relationship. This can be maybe taking control of your debt, or how you invest your money, and changing that. Something in regards to other people's money. Maybe there could be some kind of child support that's going to start coming in now, or something beginning in this area of life. This can also be a very profound experience. And then there will be a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, your 2nd house, on the 16th of May. So this can be an ending, a culmination, a fruition of some kind, something coming to a head in the area of Scorpio in your chart, which could be, this could be a job ending. This could be a form of income ending, or a spending habit ending, or also a change of in your resources somehow, some kind of change in your income, a change in position at your job. This can be an ending of a committed relationship or some business relationship. This can be the ending of a type of investment, changing that up, or maybe you are finishing some kind of skill that you've always used, and you are changing professions. This can also be a change in how you speak or communicate, or how you use your voice, and also a change in your values. So there can be certain belief systems or identification that you have in regards to your identity and your self-confidence and self-worth, connecting to what you earn or own. And so that something of that is falling away. Or maybe you're getting rid of selling your house or property, or getting rid of some kind of possession or possessiveness in some area, and letting go. And then on the, and this can also be a letting go of bad eating habits or drinking habits, what you're putting into your body. And then on the 25th of October, there is a solar eclipse in this same Scorpio 2nd house, which is a new beginning in this area. This is a new leaf being turned around. This is a fresh start. So a new idea. So this can be a new business idea, starting your own business. This can be a new job, or a new source of income, or a new way of income, a new skill. This can be a new set of values that you are generating. This can be a new outlook on how you see your possessions and how you feel about materialism and what you own. This can be a new property. a new way for you to use your voice. So yes, this is a really exciting time. And then on the 8th of November, there is a lunar eclipse in Taurus in the 8th house. So this is again now an ending in the area where you had a beginning here. Now, so this can be something coming to fruition, something coming to a head, something getting to the end of something, finishing something up, or some kind of completion in the area of shared resources, of business agreements, your spouse's income, alimony, debt, taxes, inheritances, deep emotional intimacy, secrets, the deeper meanings of life, and interests in the occult sciences. So this can also be the end of maybe a business contract, or maybe this is a divorce. This can be the end of certain investments, or a lawsuit, or maybe the end of a long period of trying to pay off your debt and you're finally done, or the end of making debt, and certain death and rebirth experience in how you identify with possessions and owning things, and your self-worth connected to all of this as well. Well, Libra Rising, thank you for allowing me to guide you through the general astrology potentials of 2022. You are going through a lot of changes and deeper dives into love, issues of money, value, the spiritual versus the material, and trust and intimacy and truth this year. And you will have a wonderful year. Remember that there is always a little good and bad together in life. When the bad comes, remember that it is for your own good. Things are happening for you and not against you, and that what is for you cannot pass you by. May God bless you and keep you. May the sun shine bright on you this day and year. Also check out my general astrology potentials for 2022 collectively. I will put a link down below. Until next time.